A very warm welcome to one and all present here. Welcome to this Zasora Developer Bootcamp 2021 at OSI 2021. So what is the Developer Bootcamp all about? The whole idea of this bootcamp is to get yourself started. Any of the contributors or any of the attendees here, get them started on their open source journey. What does that mean? Well, first off, we want to start off with explaining to you what open source means by itself. It need not be anything to do with the code. It need not be anything to do with Soda Foundation, but generally what is open source? So without any further ado, let us just take a look at what we are going to be doing today in the sessions, and then we will start off. I have with me in this beginning orientation for the bootcamp, Basabi Bora, who's a developer at Soda Foundation and Huawei Technologies. I also have with me Sushant Shetty, who's a senior system architect at Huawei Technologies, also a project maintainer at Soda Foundation. And myself, I'm going to be the MC for today and some of the events later. My name is Anvit KS. I'm also a project maintainer at Soda Foundation, as well as an architect at Huawei Technologies. Well, what are we going to cover today? Well, we'll be covering open source demystified and introduction. So primarily, lot is open source. If you've always heard of open source, thought there is a particular meaning to it, but not really know what it is, well, we're going to solve that question for you today. Why to contribute to open source? Like, why is it necessary for you to contribute to open source? We'll try and answer that question as well today. And then finally, a brief introduction of what is Soda Foundation. So Soda Foundation is a sub-foundation of Linux Foundation, and then there are some more information, which I think we'll touch up by the end of the day. So to start off the basic introduction and the overall agenda, I would like to bring you on your screens now. Basabi, are you available here?
Yes, Anvit.
Say hi, Basabi. And hello, everyone. Welcome to this session by Basabi. Now, Basabi, over to you. I will hand over the screen to you. Let me know.
Thank you so much, Anvit.
Yep.
Can you please move the next slide?
Sure.
Okay, so before we start from our end, it is what is open source. So first, I would like to make this session interactive rather than a one-way conversation. So my question goes to every participant out here. Can anybody tell us what is actually open source, or what is the open source concept to them? It doesn't need to be a completely correct answer. It might be a very simple answer or what you think of. But this is my question to the participant. Please let us know if you have any idea what is actually open source.
Remember, there are no wrong answers. So whatever you feel is open source, you can unmute yourself and you can tell us.
Actually, open source, as the word says, open source is referring to source code, and open is like it is open to all. Anyone can use it, modify it, and publish it according to their how they want to do, like modify it. So anything that is available for modification without any like copyright or any other issues or something like that.
Thank you so much, Nitish. The answer is completely correct. He almost said what is open source. Now, to give a brief explanation about the software development process, we'll go to the next slide and we'll deliver from us what is actually open source and what are the other requirements for that. So now we come to the conclusion, how do we develop do software development? And there are basically two kinds of doing the software development. The one will be the closed source and the other will be the open source, just like Nitish has explained to us. So explaining about the closed source, suppose an individual is developing a source and the source code is closed. No one can view that, no one can maintain that, no one can contribute to that. And apart from individual, let two friends, they're developing a code on this one machine and the source code is closed. Next scenario will be two friends which are developing on a different machines, and again their source code is a closed source. And the last, the group of people, it's a company, they're developing a code base, and that code base is completely closed. And the last section, the group of people, is what we known as the normal software development, we can just use the software, but we don't know what is there in the source code. We cannot view, we cannot contribute to that. So this is what the closed source environment looks like. Now moving next to the open source, just as this has mentioned, the source code is open here. An individual is developing a code, the source code is uploaded on the public domain. People can view that, people can learn from that, they can contribute to them. Similarly, two friends, they are doing a small project, the source code is open. It is accessible to the public. The two friends developing on a different machine, and they have their source code made accessible to the public. And again, the community is developing different projects, and the source code they have made accessible and available for a public domain, so that anybody can come and join the community. They can view, they can learn, and also they can be part of the community and start contributing to that. So when we talk about open, we mean the source code here is open. So now we have to keep one important point in our mind, that when we say about open source, we here mean about the users' rights of the source code. It does not mean that software is free or it is not going to cost us anything. It's just that the source code is open for the public to view, maintain, and contribute. But it has some specific rights for public access. And just by specific rights, we mean the open source licensing. So you might have heard about most of the two famous licensing, which is Apache and the MIT. Yes, it is open for public, but there are certain restrictions over it. And I lend over to you, Anvit. Anvit will take from here. He will explain to you what are the essentials of open source. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Basabi. All right. So quickly touching up on what Basabi just explained. Closed source, which means the source code is not accessible. Open source, the source code is accessible, right? Now, when you say the source code is accessible, it has to come from some particular place, right? And these are two things that we are looking at, the essential aspects of open source development. The source code is available from some location, and also people are able to access and do something. As Nitish mentioned, you can modify and then republish. So the essential aspects of open source development are a common place for source code. That's where we maintain all the source code of a project, and developers who will be using this source code and actually doing something with it. Examples of source code repositories, as we call them, you might have heard of GitHub, which is the most well-known of repositories, but we also have something called Git, GitLab, and Bitbucket, which actually gives you different kinds of UIs, different kinds of companies. They all provide some sort of repositories. And again, developers, as you know, different kinds of programming languages. You have C, C++, Java developers, JavaScript developers, front-end developers. Sometimes they don't even use languages. It could just be contributing to documentation by writing. So basically some contributors and a common source of keeping the source code. Now, typical components of open source development. Now, when we talk about open source, generally the first thought that comes to mind is that it is something to do with some open source Linux kind of project, or it's something to do with a GitHub. There's a GitHub and there is a code available, or I can develop something on GitHub. But if you actually dig deeper, we have a few things that go into any open source project. The first aspect is governance. What is governance? I'll quickly come to that, but let us just go through. Second is engineering, and the third is ecosystem. So a typical open source project should have these aspects of or these components. So what is governance? Let's just take a look. So the governance would be the operation structure. Like any company, an open source project also will have some sort of a structure. There will be people who will take important decisions, key decisions in terms of the direction in which the project should go, in terms in which the project should mature. So if it is working on certain particular aspects of technology, whether it is relevant, what is irrelevant, what we should not be working on, the strategy and budget, because although it is open source, it's not free. It costs money. It costs money to host some things on some servers, running some servers. So lots of money is spent, and all of these needs to be taken care of by some people. And again, the roadmap. As I mentioned, if you want to plan the direction in which your project has to go, obviously you need to have a roadmap saying, hey, where will this project be at the end of this year, at the end of the next year? So how long or how far ahead can we plan? That's what the governance aspect is. So primarily the operating structure, who is going to be the lead in this? Obviously, if there is no lead, it's like, you should not have something which is a headless chicken. You should always have some sort of a direction. So that's what the governance aspect of it is. Provides you the right direction to go in, creates the strategy for the overall project, also some sort of budgeting so that we know how much money is being spent, how much money would be required, and maybe if we need to get some funds, how do we do the fundraising? Roadmap, again, as I mentioned, the plan for the overall project, how we progress, how we should ideally progress, and what would be the end goal at every given point of time, with some milestones, obviously. What about the engineering aspects? Now, engineering aspects would involve the design and development, project management, and source version control. So what is design and development? Plain and simple, when you make a software, design does not refer only to the user interface design. It's not the front end design, as we usually use the word design with. Design also refers to the software design. You basically have a overall design of the entire architecture, how you plan a particular project. So when we talk about development, we need to have a design in place, which then we implement into by using the development tools at our disposal. Project management is primarily making sure that we follow the roadmap, we follow the milestones, we ensure that all the the milestones are met, we solve all the problems, all the releases are on time, and also the resources, the people working on it, if there are any kind of resources needed in terms of physical resources, like say some servers are required, all of this is to be taken care of, and then the timeline for each of these things has to be taken care of. That would be project management. And source version control. This is where something like GitHub or Bitbucket or GitLab comes into picture, where the source code of a particular project is maintained in chronological fashion. So when you add some code to it, it gets updated, but the old code should not be lost, because in future you may require the old code to just see what happens. So that's what we do. When we push some code to source version, we ensure that we also have access to the previous code and we can compare at any point of time. And what is the ecosystem? The ecosystem finally is us, the developers, the vendors. So there are companies who will be part of the ecosystem. Open source is not only about developers or students or individuals. It's also about companies, because lots of companies also are big supporters of open source. They have given their support in terms of infrastructure, in terms of money, in terms of a lot of other aspects, and users. So there may be people who also use the open source components. It need not be only people who are making them, but we also need people who will use these projects and give us feedback. Also make sure that all the open source projects which are being used regularly are also sent out to everyone, and they are able to get good feedback to improve themselves. So basically, as I mentioned, typical components are governance, engineering, and ecosystem. They are required for a project to run smoothly and to be sustainable. Primarily, it means that it'll ensure that the project will have a good plan and it will last longer. It will not be like, okay, today we start, after some time, hey, we are not able to continue, just stop. That's not how it is. That's the whole point of having something like this. But these are not mandatory. It's good to have, yes, but some projects may require just a good engineering team and a good ecosystem. You may not require a governance model. Or you may just require some aspects of governance, but may not require everything. So that's the whole idea of having these kinds of components. It's a fluid thing. Some of the times the governance and engineering may get merged into one, and the ecosystem is something which everybody must have. So this is typical components in an open source environment. To give you some idea of the sample open source projects that you find online, you would have heard of Linux, you would have heard of Docker, you would have heard of Python. Well, these are all open source projects. If you go and check out the GitHub pages for this, you'll find the source code for all of these projects available. Another one which you would have heard is a buzzword right now is Kubernetes. Kubernetes also is an open source project. You'll find the source code online. If you're from the web development world and if you've done some development in websites or something, WordPress is another CMS, again, open source. So lots of these projects are open source and you should be able to use them in your own way, contribute to them and work on them. Well, let's just take a look. There are some statistics here. So as of January 2020, GitHub reports having over 40 million users and over 190 million repositories, including at least 28 million public repositories, making it the largest host of source code in the world. Yeah, why January 2020? Yeah, in the pandemic time, I didn't have time to go and check out the reports. So we have some old reports over here. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that this number has exponentially grown now. Similarly, there's a 2020 survey by DevOps.com that there's a shift away from proprietary software. What it means is that the time when software was only developed by companies where the source code was closed, but now it is moving away and only that very few people are actually doing that, and many of them are actually using open source. So you can see that on an average response, that 36% of the organized software is open source, which in 2 years is expected to increase to 44%. A total of 77%, they would increase usage of open source software over the next 12 months. So basically, lots of people are going to open source. The biggest change would be, if you've heard this before, Microsoft used to be like a completely closed source software company, but they are the biggest supporters of open source, including their own GitHub on their own now. So that's a kind of change. There's some statistics again. Over 90% of tech companies across technology and business domains are using open source in some way or the other. It could be very simple, it could be very complicated, but they are touching open source in some way or the other. Edge computing and IoT, right now 55% of it is open source. They're expecting it to be 72%, maybe more. And AI and ML, again, right now it's 48%, but again, that's going to be like 65-75% in the coming 2 years. So tracking back, let's just quickly go here.
We won't be dealing with human genome project and all, but just to give an idea, overall idea, okay, what is the key and what are the specific function and.
Thank you. So I just have a question here. Let's see who can get this. I'm not going to. It's not a fastest finger first type. You can type as well, or if you want to verbally say it. So what is the difference between open source and free software? You can unmute yourself and you can speak out, or you can even type it out if you want in the chat. Anybody? We have quite a few people in the participants. Okay, we can add changes to open source, but we can't do it to free software. Open source is customizable by the user. Free as in monitoring, but open means it doesn't changes. Free software, no code. Open source, share code. Nice answers. I love the answers. Freeware is just binary, can be used for. Okay, I like the answer. Free as in monitor terms or open ones. Purnima Premjit, I think you have given a very good answer. That's pretty much what it is. Open source, the source code is open. Free software, the software is free. You don't pay for the software. But how does it differ? Although the source code may be open, it need not be free. You may have to pay for it to get the source code, or maybe that there is some access required for the source code. And although the software is free, you may need not be able to access the source code of that software. So that is the primary. Open source gives the architecture and the core of software, but the free software is for further premium features. That's also a pretty decent answer, yeah. And in the open source, we can see source code, freeware is just binary. Yeah, so free software may not be open. That's correct. It's the binary as in the executable. That's correct. That's all right. That's good. Good answers. Good answers, everybody. Would come with GPL. Okay, the licensing, yeah, different kinds of licenses available, different kinds of access based on the license. Very quickly touching upon what is the difference between a project, a foundation, and a sub-foundation. You might have heard of this. There is something called the Linux Foundation. You know about the Soda Foundation. It's right on your screens, right? And then you would have heard of projects. So very quickly, these are the projects like Python, Kubernetes, Linux. These would be projects. The Linux Foundation or the Apache Foundation, these are foundations, and they host sub-foundations as well as projects under them. So Soda Foundation is actually a sub-foundation under the Linux Foundation. And you would have heard of another sub-foundation. It's called the CNCF, Cloud Native Computing Foundation, which is again a sub foundation of the Linux Foundation. So they're both part of Linux Foundation. And then sub foundation will host some more projects. So the whole idea is, to give you an analogy, it's like a university, a college, and then departments. So your foundations would be the universities, your departments would be your sub foundations, the subjects would be your projects. So that's the kind of analogy I can give you to just give you an idea of how it works. Right? All right. I think I will now hand over the session to you. Yeah, if you're not speaking, I just request you to mute. Thank you very much. Right. Yeah. Sushant, over to you, please.
Yeah. Hi, Anvit. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. So till now we have seen a lot of information about the open source, and as far as our exposure, I mean the people present here, our exposure level is concerned, I think we may be at different level with respect to open source exposure. Some of us may be very new or yet to join some open source domain, or we may be having some experience on open source, or we may be well versed with the open source practices. But however, whatever may be the case, it is definitely good to see or clear some confusion regarding some of the myths and facts about the open source. So it is more of a yes or no kind of things, or kind of a notion what we possess on all those aspects. Okay, and with next. Okay, the first one is open source project means Linux. So is it a myth or fact, or how many of you think it is true or may not be true? Definitely false. So any guesses on this? Right, almost all of you are right. Yeah, so open source project doesn't really mean Linux, although you might see many times these two words linked, some part of Linux linked with some part of open source, but it doesn't mean that. Next. Open source is free. I think most of you have already answered. Right, it's not true, need not be true. Next. Yeah, open source software can work with proprietary or closed source. Means somebody can take the open source software, use it, customize it, or may contribute back.
Yes,
so what
yes,
do you
yes,
think
yes.
about?
Lots of people saying yes and true. That's correct. Well,
Yeah,
you are right. It is a fact.
that's right. So next, Linux Foundation is for Linux only, or the Linux based open source projects only. Probably this one is also very easy to get.
Everyone says false.
Yeah,
Well,
almost. Yeah.
if you all say it's false,
So I
then
can
it is false.
safely assume like you have gone through the first part of the presentation quite well,
Yes.
considering the strike rate of the answer.
Right. Open source is developed by students or developers in
For
part-time
developers
only.
part-time only. Because you would have heard many people part-time contributing to open source, students or developers. So does that mean that it is just a part-time activity? Always is it the case?
It is a myth.
Again, so most of the things which, if you go by the obvious meaning or the obvious statement, may not be really true. So there are much more meaning associated with those statements. And last one, maybe this is, many people might be having the confusion or rather wrong assumption that open source quality and security are always inferior to commercial software, because people might think like nobody cares because it is everybody's, or they don't have any special bonding or binding to those softwares. But at the same time, this is not really true. There are a lot of efforts, actions taken to make sure like these softwares are equally good or equally usable, deployable by commercial, commercial use cases. As unlike any other product, very much similar to any products. Okay, so going back to the two important aspects. One is why to contribute to open source. Okay, so why you should think of contributing to open source, or what in turn you will get upon contributing to open source. So first, let us think about why we will normally what we do when we go behind solving some problem or searching answer for some questions. So we might go explore some answer, we might come up with some answer, or we might come up with some clue, right? And maybe the answer present is not correct, you might correct the answer. Now you are good to go, but at the same time it is opportunity for you to correct whatever wrong piece of thing you are referred, and you can definitely enhance the quality of the software or whatever it may be. It may be a project or software which you have used, so that you can contribute back, so that make your software more reliable and you can still rely upon for further problems. And second one, upgrade your self skills. When I tell self skills, it may be problem solving, analytical, developing skills, testing, review, or helping in different aspects. So you can definitely upgrade your skills if you are part of open source and contributing. And on the during the process of this contribution, you might come across several people who might be acting as a mentors for you, or in future you might seek help from them. Another thing is about connect the like-minded people, because when you go in search of some projects, maybe there are multiple people who have come there just to check or find a solution for a similar problem. So you will definitely get a connection with a lot of people which will help you to, in future you might contact them to solve similar problems. And in turn you can provide your contributions which will be public, it will be visible by multiple people, people who really matter to you. And this will help in growing your reputation and also the also move up in the ladder of your career growth. And better people skills, not just the technical skills. You might come across a lot of skills which might be essential going forward in your career. And above all these things, it is always a nice feel good factor when you contribute something back, when you contribute something which can be visible by others. Doesn't matter the magnitude of the contribution, but just contribution itself is a different feeling. So now we have seen why to contribute. Next, that what it means to contribute. So maybe you are pretty much convinced like it is good to contribute, or it is definitely beneficial to contribute. Now what to do next? Okay, when it comes to contribution, maybe some myths are there here. So first statement is, it is not about just contributing code. Code is not that all which when we what we tell when we refer to open source. It can be different things, and it can be even planning some open source events, thereby you are helping in building the relationship among the communities, among different developers. So if that is the area of interest, you can definitely go in that direction and contribute. And it is not always about solving the problem, and most of the times it is also about finding the problem or helping the people in finding the problem, which is not very easy to find. And so that is also a contribution, throwing a problem statement and suggest a design for a problem of any magnitude, maybe a very small piece of advice, um, uh, just a suggestion, or just some experience sharing that will really help to make that open source software strong with respect to design front. And contribute code, I think, which all of us, that is something which will come to our mind first. And helping people in multiple ways, this is kind of this help is kind of endless, or you can add several attributes here. Maybe reviewing, helping others to contribute, going and just checking what is happening with the issue. Normally when the open source software is developed, so people will have some limited resources to verify their feature. Maybe they seek help from others, like there are several number of architectures or operating systems which we claim like it should cater to, but maybe one person it is too much, one or group of person it will be too much for to verify and check things. So definitely we can help open source projects or the open source ecosystem in multiple ways, which will definitely benefit in, it will be a multifold benefit for any kind of contributors at any level. Okay, now we have seen about open source's contributions and all. So normally your next step will be where to contribute. So like I mentioned, based on it depends on several factors, which project you choose, the maturity of the project, the use cases of the project, and how engaging the community is, how engaging the community members are, how much inclusiveness the community possesses. So these are several kind of things which will come to your mind when you think about making the contributions. So I just want to introduce Soda Foundation here, which is an completely open source project platform or ecosystem. Like Anvit mentioned, it is right under the Linux Foundation as a sub foundation. So it hosts several projects under its umbrella. So it hosts multiple projects about data management and under the open source, under Soda Open Data Framework. So it is a neutral platform or the neutral forum for the any cross project collaborations. So here some of the projects mentioned here. Uh, One is a Delphin, Dashboard, multi-cloud, Soda plugin. So these are some of the very active projects along with some of the native projects present in Soda, which solve several use cases. So these are the projects we mentioned here because active developments are happening, active support is provided. So this is one place definitely you can come and contribute. So it is a good amount of documentation is provided, different kind of issues are present. So whatever you are looking in for making your contributions, I must say that everything is available here, right from the description of the contribution till the support. So I hope definitely you can make your open source journey here. And these are some of the very useful links. So do join Slack, Twitter, and meetup groups. Do follow us through the code and documentation links, and we are very eager to look for your contributions. And just to continue on this part, like we have talked uh, different aspects of open source Soda projects and all. Now it is a time, maybe next couple of hours will be probably your first 2 hours or initial 2 hours of your open source journey for many of you. So I hope you will have nice experience with respect to open source ecosystem. Yeah, Anvit.
All right. Thank you, Sushant. Thank you for explaining about the Soda Foundation. You know, or rather, we hope you learned something from this brief orientation into the world of open source. Thanks, Basabi, for starting us off today, and also Sushant for the detailed description about why and what to contribute to open source. Well, with that introduction, it's time now for us to get our hands dirty. It's time for the hands-on session, which will be conducted by Praveen, Ranjan, and Joseph VP. Praveen is a system architect at Huawei. He's also a project maintainer at Soda Foundation, has been working on multiple projects across the Soda Foundation ODF core projects. He has experience working on multi-cloud, the Delphin, API, doc controller, well, you name it, he's worked on it. We also have another master of hats. We have Joseph VP. He's a senior system architect at Huawei Technologies. Was also a maintainer with the installer, the Delphin, multi-cloud, and API and doc projects at Soda Foundation. With that, I will now hand over this session to Praveen and Joseph, who will be taking up the next part of the session. It's going to be a 2-hour hands-on session. Time to grab yourselves a bottle of water, get some snacks and keep them ready, and get your laptops charged and plug them in. Over to you, Praveen and Joseph.
Okay, thank you, Anvit. Thank you, Basavi and Sushant. I think you have given enough foundation to start with our the next topic. I mean, mostly about the Git and GitHub. And in open source world, why Git and GitHub is important, I think you have heard in the previous slides. Because as you know that millions of users are there with the GitHub, millions of repositories are already there, and so many projects are now being used over the GitHub platform. So this is the one of the you can say that widely used repository We will talk about all those things, what is all, but widely use these terms GitHub and Git in the open source world. And that's why we pick the Git and GitHub introduction, so that we can introduce you about the GitHub technologies and all. And in the next session, we'll give you a little bit of idea how you can contribute yourself, means how you can write something, write the code and push to the GitHub repository. So that part we will also doing in our hands-on session. Okay, so let's start with the Git and GitHub, and then we'll do some hands-on, we'll do some practice to raising the PR, talk about the PRs and all. But the overall agenda would be like that: what is the Git, basic of the things, how you can clone the code to your local repository, how you can edit the code, and how you can push the code to your branch, and how you can ask for the pull request. So all those things we'll talk. So these are the terminologies mostly part of the Git or GitHub. So that's why these are the keywords, you can say that, just like the forking, the cloning, raising the pull request, and all those things. So these are the keywords which are being used in the GitHub. And that's why we will introduce all these with all these keywords in the detailed way. Okay. So this is looks like a architecture diagram, but I will not talk much about that. But just to set a background, why Git was actually required, why not a normal platform, why not a normal software was enough. So we'll talk about that. So if you see the left side diagram, where one server is there are many clients. So just assume that server is nothing but one repository, or where you are going to push the code. And clients are where multiple developer, maybe you can say that, and they are trying to use the code, they are trying to edit the code, and again they will push the code to the server. The problem will be, whenever there is only one set of code and there are multiple developers are working, there will be always a conflict. Because if you see in the programming terminology also, let's say there is a one common variable and there are multiple processes, they want to update that. So there will be a synchronization problem. And to solve this synchronization problem, a lot of solutions are there based on the locking and all those things. The same things applies here also. Let's say there is only one copy of the code, and the same code they are means being used by the multiple developers, definitely syncing required. And that's the where the distributed, or you can say that another software known as the Git comes into the picture. So it's a server, means the same whatever the codes, your repositories are there, it's distributed across the network, and multiple developers can clone the code, they can edit in your local branch, and they can they can ask the owner of the repository to take the code. And once the code will be taken, all the history will be captured. So these are the benefits based on the, if you see the a normal single server machine versus the distributed with version control, and a lot of things are there. So we'll not talk about much more detail about the how architecture works, but this was the main theme and pinpoint where a distributed repository required, where multiple developers can push their code at a time without any further syncing issues. Okay, so this is just basic things. Whenever the Unix was developed, that time there was a problem, because multiple developers, they were working and they wanted to push their code. And that's why Git is not a Git is a new, but the concept is not a new. Since 1972, this type of systems are coming up, just like the source code control system. In 1972, similar things were there, where multiple developers can push their code without any syncing issues. The same in 92, another project came, and in 2000, Apache releases its own version of that. And Bitkeeper, if you see that, Bitkeeper now it's not being used more, but it's very similar to Git. So it was released in 2005. And again, 2005, there was a project released by, or maybe developed by the Linus, right? So he released, or he developed a project known as the Git, and which is now being used by each and every open source, not each and every, but mostly the millions of users are there in the Git right now. So this is just history. And now we will talk about that. As I mentioned in the previous diagram, that version control was very important, because if you see in this diagram right side, I've just took the screenshot that somebody has deleted the code and somebody has added the code. Each and everything you can see easily what has been deleted, at what commit this code was there, at what point of time this code was there. So each and everything easily can be visible. So version control was very much it's very much there in the Git. Okay. And whatever you want to revert a file, you want to compare and change, you want to modify each and everything, each and every bit will be tracked in your Git. So let's say for a same project, if 10 developers are working on that, each developer's code will be tracked. What code they have deleted, what code they have added, and each and everything, it will be stored somewhere, and that log you can see anywhere. It means log can be seen by anybody. So each and everything will be easily visible to a owner of the project as well as the developer of the project, those who are using this. So this is the advantage of the Git. And so we were talking about the Git. Now there is a term, what is GitHub? So Git is just a CLI tool, just like in Linux, mkdir, any other Linux based CLI commands we use. So just Git is a CLI tool which is used for the GitHub, basically GitHub repository, to work on the GitHub repository. What is GitHub? So GitHub is a repository where you can push your code. Basically it's a storage, one type of a storage where codes will be there, and so many members, those or the developers or those who want to use that code, they can take the code, they can clone the code and they can use it. So main difference with Git and GitHub is a repository, whereas a Git is a CLI tool for the accessing and for the working over the GitHub repository. Okay, so this is the basic things. Here I've just grabbed some of the commands of the Git. It might be useful for you. It's easily available over the Google also. You can just type the Google Git commands, you will get it. But these are the very popular commands, and mostly it will be used in each and every request, whatever you want to do in the Git and GitHub. So this is the basic commands. There are more commands, but those are for the advanced purpose, but still you can go and check it out. Okay. So I covered almost the basic things of the Git and GitHub. Now I will talk about our Soda Foundation GitHub repository, the projects, how you can how you can clone a code, how you can go to the repository, how you can edit the code and push the code and all those things. So in this session, I will demonstrate those parts. Okay, so for that, so to use the GitHub, you should have one GitHub repository or GitHub sign up. For example, I am signing through some of the Praveen Ranjan. I will sign it to the GitHub. Very normal type of login platforms you will get. Just sign into the GitHub. And if you come here to your profile, you can simply see that how many projects are there and not there. So currently I have only one project because just 3 hours back I have created for this demo purpose only. So what should I do? I mean, if I want to contribute to any project, what should do I? So what is the first step I should do basically? So if I want to contribute to any project, definitely first I have to go to that particular project, GitHub page. So for example, if you see that Soda Foundation, github.com, Soda Foundation API, or any project, Delphine or multi-cloud, or there are so many projects. If you see all the projects list in the GitHub, what Anvit and other members you are showing, so all the projects are there in the GitHub. Soda API, doc, NBP, multi-cloud, Delphine, each everything. There are so many, right? So let's take you pick one project based on your interest on all. So let's say I went to the multi-cloud. I want to update something. I want to contribute to the multi-cloud. So what should I do first? First, I should do the fork. So if you see my repository, currently only one project is there, Delphin. The moment I will do the fork, then multi-cloud basically is coming into my repository. Basically from the master branch, I mean from the Soda Foundation, now it will be visible to my branch, my repository also. Previously it was there in the Soda Foundation. So I just simply, I copy it, basically I fork it. So if I'll refresh it, there are two repositories now, as you can see that, Delphin and multi-cloud. Okay, so multi-cloud project is now present in my local. This is my profile only. So I can do anything because the same code is now copied here in my local branch. Okay, so first step is just fork it. Once you fork it, as usual, you will see all the codes, each and every codes you can see now. Okay, the same code you get from the Soda Foundation multi-cloud to your multi-cloud. After that, what you should do, if you are a developer and if you want to modify something, so definitely you have to clone to your local machine, and from local machine you can just edit something and just erase to your local. So that we'll do now. So first we did the fork. Once the fork is done, then it will be available in my local repository. Okay, and from that local repository I can pull the code to my local system so that I can modify it. So if you see that, so only one project is there currently, nothing is there, multi-cloud is basically not there. So what I can do, that I can git clone, and either I can go to the my local branch and this multi-cloud repository, and here there is a green section code, you can see that. So if you see here, github.com PR OpenSDS multi-cloud, because this is my local branch. So I can pull this code from my local, as well as I can pull the main code from the Soda Foundation also. Simply I just changed it, github.com Soda Foundation multi-cloud. The better way is to always clone, not always, but it's better to close from the main branch, because sometimes your branch, your local code and the main code may not be synced in the sync. Okay, so better just pick the master, means the Soda Foundation, and just clone it to your local branch. So the moment the clone's done, all the code now simply copy to the my local machine. So simply, as you can see that, I can go to the multi-cloud and see all the codes now here. So simply I can clone all the codes of the Soda Foundation multi-cloud to my local branch. What can I do now? I can take any issues if I want to contribute something, or simply if I know that I want to do something. So definitely better way to start with one issues and open it and fix it basically. Otherwise you can give some suggestion also, all those things. So there are, let's say there are 173 issues are there. I can take any issues based on my understanding and all those things, but that part I will not discuss now. What I will do, let's say I will add one simple line of comment, and I will try that. I will check how I can, that comment I can push to the my local branch, as well I can raise the pull request to the main branch. So let's go to the any particular folder, backend, and then package, and then you can go to service, and then service.go. So the codes is now here. What I will do, simply I'll just add the one log message, just for checking that whether something is happening or not. So just I added here, this is just for testing. I will modify it. Do not merge. So I added something. Okay. So I added, and so in the Git, based on the my ppt's command, if you see here, there are so many commands. So using these commands, I can use to check what happened here. So I can check what the files has been modified. So if you see the Git status, as you can see here, this particular file has been modified. What modification has done? So you can do the git diff also. If you do the git diff, easily you can see that this line has been added, as the symbol also green. If something I will delete, it will be in red, and here it will be minus, but here is plus, indicating that this line has been added to this file. Okay, so what I did till now, I forked it, I clone it, I added something in my code. So as you can see that with the help of the git status, I can see that this file has been modified and this line has been modified. Okay, now the same modified line I have to push to, first I have to push to my local branch, and from local I can ask Soda Foundation multi-cloud, please accept my pull request. Okay, so there are three layers. First, I am sitting in my local system. From there, I will push to my local branch, GitHub local branch, and from there I will ask, I will raise a pull request. So there are three steps. So what first I have to do now is that I have to push this code to my local branch. Okay, so for that there are 2-3 steps required. So for example, I know that this file has been modified, so I have to add it. This file I have to add it, that okay, I want to push this code, this file. So git add, and then you give the file name. Basically, if there are multiple files, so you can keep the space and keep adding the file. Okay, if there are repositories, simply you give this star, it will take. Okay, so git add. So now if you see the git status, so this is now showing the green, because the git whatever the modification is done, it's now added in the queue for the pushing, but till now I have not pushed it. Okay, so for that, what should I do? I should push to the local branch. Okay, so how can I push to the local branches? Using the git commit. So I can simply give the git commit. First I have to add the file, then I have to give the git commit, and then some message that this is just for testing. Okay, now I have committed this, but till now still I have not pushed to the my local GitHub. So if you see that what are the remote branches are there in my local system. So if you do that remote -v, then see, you can see there are two things. One is the fetch and push, means currently Soda Foundation multi-cloud.git is only available for push, right? But problem is that I cannot directly push to the Soda Foundation multi-cloud.git, because this is not my local branch. If I'll push it, it will simply decline, because I don't have access to push it. I can only request the pull. I can request the Soda Foundation to pull my code. I cannot ask Soda Foundation multi-cloud that I'm pushing the code and just accept it. No. So where I can do that, I have my access to my local repository. Okay. So to my system, how can I add to my local repository? So git remote add, and here I can add my local repository, which was peer open SDS. So this path you can get from your local repository multi-cloud also. For example, if you go to your currently we are in the PR Open SDS multi-cloud. If you see the path of this, so just copy it and paste it here. So this is the exactly same. So I am adding, just give some name, git remote add, maybe say that first code. I just give in some name and just add it. So once if you list again, now there are two things available. One is Soda Foundation multi-cloud, one is PR OpenSDS multi-cloud. In this, definitely I can push it because this is my repository, local repository. But here I cannot push it. If you try to push it into the origin, it will fail it. It will fail because I don't have the password, username and password. Okay. So now I have added the code, I have committed. Now it's ready for push. So simply I will do that. Git push, where if I'll do the origin, see, it will fail. It will ask some username and password. I don't have the username and password of the Soda Foundation multi-cloud Git, right? So it will not accept. Anyway, it will fail. So anyway, there is no way to push to the origin. Okay. Then where I can push the code to my first code, because first code is my local branch. Okay. If I'll here, I know the username and password, so definitely I can use it. And now currently, if I'll give the username and password, GitHub will throw the error. As you can see, okay, because there are token-based authentication has been enabled in the GitHub. Okay, not since very long, but since last 2-3 months only. So I have to take the token. So I can go to setting. Here, if you go to your profile in setting, there is a developer setting, and in developer setting, there is a personal access token. Okay. So what you can do, either you can save the token if it has been previously generated, but somehow if you don't have, you can generate the new token. And for example, you can give the access to each and everything for delete the repository, pushing and cloning and whatever notification. Just give the some access for this token. You can restrict the access to for this token. So I've just given the full access and generating the token. So as you can see that this token has been now generated. I will simply copy it. And now I can again push this code to my local repo. And here I'm pasting that copy pasted used token, means generated token. Now see, you can see here, this had been pushed to the PR OpenSDS multi-cloud .git. Okay. Now go to your repository and just see anything changed or not. Yes, something has been changed just 17 seconds ago. Okay. If you go to your multi-cloud repository, what is happening is,
Hello.
see, 5 minutes
Yes,
ago,
please.
something happened.
Yes.
Okay. So this line we had added, as you can see that this line we had added. Okay. Now you might be saying that why PR Ranjan 10 is showing. Okay. So because if you see the config list, so if you are a new user, so while pushing the, if you run this command git push to your local branch, it will ask you for your name and email ID. So if you will see that I have already in my current system, the things has been set up already, Praveen Ranjan Gmail ID and the name and all those things. So that's why the name is showing here. Okay. So first, if you are raising the first time, that time you have to set the configuration. In that configuration, the name and email ID required. Anyway, so this code is now there in my local, but definitely it will not be there in the main multi-cloud, right? Because till now I have not raised the pull request also. Here you can see that there is nothing pull request from Praveen Ranjan and all in recent time, right? So what I can do, I can go to my multi-cloud repository, and from there I can request the pull. I can do the pull request for the Soda Foundation multi-cloud. Okay, how can I do that? So I can go to the pull request, create a pull request, just follow the process, And if you see here, where we are making a pull request. So this is PR OpenSDS multi-cloud master branch, and where I'm making Soda Foundation, right? This was my intention only, correct? Because here code is there, here code is not there yet. So I am asking that I am pushing the code to the multi-cloud, Soda Foundation multi-cloud, and requesting them, please pull my code and merge it if this code is valuable. Okay, so I can create a pull request here, give the something useful heading, what this pull request is about, and here the some templates are there. You have to give something that why you are sending this pull request, is this important, have you tested something, if any bug you are fixing, just give the bug number, if you are doing anything enhancement, you just add it, which issues, and also this is our templates. Have you tested this code for this particular scenario? Just add some report here, some screenshot and all those things, you just add it. Okay, and once it is done, so here maybe I should modify if I'm raising the actual PR. Since it's just demo, so I'm not modifying anything, but you should modify basically. This PR is about this PR just for testing, just add it and just create a pull request. And before creating pull request, just check it which file, only one file has been modified, what line has been modified. As you can see that green color, plus if you will delete it, it will be in the red color. Create a pull request. Now I have raised the pull request. Now go to the Soda Foundation multi-cloud. Now Soda Foundation multi-cloud, and if you see that now your request has come to the Soda Foundation multi-cloud. Okay, now Soda Foundation multi-cloud maintainers, they can see your code. Okay, you have done something. Okay, good, and what you have done. Okay, this is this line is important or not. If it is really important, and if this really things required for their further enhancement or any bug fixing, they will approve it. For example, I have the access, I can approve it and I can merge it. But as a developer, this is not your duty. Your duty was till the raising the pull request. Okay, and once it is done, you are done basically. If somebody will give the comment, you can just fix it according to that. And once this PR, this pull request is approved by the maintainer of the projects, this code will be the part of the Soda Foundation multi-cloud now. Okay, so this way you can basically, you can you can clone the code, you can edit the code, and you can raise a pull request to the any repository where you want to contribute. So this is all about the basic of the Git and GitHub, how you can contribute first time in the GitHub repository. Okay, any doubts till now? So basically I am done live demo, and thank you. If you have any doubts, definitely we can take it quickly. Otherwise in last we have the QA section, there you can ask the question. So this is the basic of the Git. I don't know how many of you have followed this, but if you have followed this, it will be, I hope you will be able to raise a first pull request. So what you can do basically, that in the multi-cloud or Delphi, any Soda Foundation project, just if you are just learning it, better you raise a first pull request and just give some just for testing and like that. If it is a just for learning purpose, if you are fixing some issue, just add the issues number so that we can check whether it's a correct fix or not, and we can merge it further. So after this session, what we will do, if you want to do some more hands-on about the Soda Foundation projects, so basically we'll take you through one of the very much you can say that widely used in the Soda Foundation. There is a project Delphi. where we will be talking about how you can install it, deploy it, how you can basically feel the Soda Foundation project dashboard, all those things. For now, I have ready, but Joseph will guide you. So that part we will be discussed now in the hands-on. So Joseph, now it's over to you, and now further you can take it ahead. Thank you.
Thanks, Praveen.
Hello, Joseph. Are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, Joseph, I can hear you.
Yeah. Maybe I can share the screen, right? Yeah. Good afternoon, all. So you would have heard about Soda Foundation and the open source Git process and some basics projects about Soda Foundation. So in this talk, I will explain some of one of the project in Soda Foundation Delphin and how we can contribute or make some initial contribution into Delphin. So this will be very basic talk, similar to what Praveen did. So first thing will be this. Yes.
Right. So just Joseph, I wanted to means check how many of you have set up already the Ubuntu 18.04 Python 3.6, so that we can focus on particular issues if you are facing. So
Yeah, right.
right,
Check the readiness.
we can
once.
check the readiness, and if you stuck somewhere, so that we can fix live, and we can
You can
debug the
just put
things.
in the chat window that you are up for trying this, or you are facing some issue, you are in middle of something, not yet reached this stage. Just post the things in chat.
Right.
We'll take a couple of minutes before we proceed.
By that
With
time,
respect to
Joseph, maybe
readiness.
you can go with agenda.
Yeah, maybe I'll explain some basic stuff about Delphin, some very high level overview, where it is used and what is the purpose of Delphin. And I can show some installed Delphin along with its dashboard and installer so that you can explore that at the user level. Then we will look into developer level setup for Delphin. So how you can interface it with some low level APIs and how to test it, unit test and integration tests, end-to-end tests. This kind of tests how to do before raising a PR, or when you want to raise a PR, you need to test it and verify it, and then only it will get merged. So this process I will explain in this session. So first thing is Delphin is a storage monitoring tool. That means there will be storage arrays and users will use Delphin to monitor these storage arrays. By monitoring, what we mean is we check the storage arrays capacity usage, whether the capacity usage is increasing, whether we need to add more capacity. Those kind of information can be derived from Delphin. Delphin is basically a server which will accept REST requests, and Delphin will fetch details, information regarding the storage from the storage array. Storage array is like the vendors, Dell EMC, NetApp, IBM. These kind of vendors provide storage arrays so that we can use the storage arrays. Delphin will monitor this storage array usage so that storage admin can plan future capacity, and they can get in-depth information about the backend storage that we have. That is a basic usage of Delphin. I will show one of the deployment of Delphin with our dashboard.
So I have installed Delphin in a VM. So you can see the installer documentation to see how, or documentation. This is the installer documentation. There it will list how to install Soda projects using Ansible. So I have followed that and installed Delphin for our purpose. So once Delphin is installed, this is the Ansible installation success. There is nothing failed and all the installation process is okay. And I have listed the processes which are required for Delphin to work. One is the dashboard that we will see, and these are all the Delphin processes. There will be 4 processes. These are the 4 processes that Delphin installs for it to work. AP, task, alert, and exporter. So once it is verified, we can see the dashboard. This is the Soda dashboard. Delphin features are available through this resource monitor. I have already registered 2 storages, so we can see summary of the 2 storages. So these are the 2 storages I have registered. Fake driver. We have used fake driver in this because we don't have any backend storage with us. Any commercial storage. We don't have any commercial storage array. So these are the 2 that because of that we need to simulate the array using fake storage. It will list all the resources here. We can go to details of this just to show some dashboard features. You can see like this. The usage capacity details. Now we'll go into one of the array. Here it will show the summary of that array. And these are the resources that this backend fake storage has. So you can see one by one. For example, for seeing the details of a storage pool in the array, you can click here. It seems to be very slow for me. It shows the details of that storage pool 3. Like that, these are the different resources. Other resources are an array can have resources like storage pool, volumes, controllers, ports, disks, etc. And all the details of these resources will be available. Individual resources will be available in this place. Another thing that dashboard shows is capacity, so storage capacity, how it grows. So in our case, this is the array usable capacity, used and free. This is same for the volumes and storage pools. This is the alerts. If there is any alert, it will list here. This is the metrics collected over time. For example, storage response time. Using a graph like that, masking view. This is the topology of from user to storage LAN. It will show the connection. Okay, similar view. We can see that performance monitor is Delphin will monitor storage arrays for the performance indicators. There are some metrics that we collect that can be viewed from this page. So we are selecting the storage ID and the resource we want. So select storage pool. To fetch this average IOPS data, all these metrics data. These are the metrics that are available for the storage resource pool. So you can see the detailed view. Next is our alert manager. So same. There is some alert, it will list in this view. This is we are using Prometheus to collect time series data, so it will be available in this page also. This is different. It's the Prometheus view. So that's all I want to show in the usage of Delphin. If you have any questions, you can ask now. So we explored this part, installation and feel. Look and feel of dashboard for the Delphin. If you have any questions, you can ask. Okay.
Hello.
Yes.
Where can I find the installation guide for Delphin?
So this is the Soda Foundation's document site. Here you can go to the installation using Ansible. So this is the page that contains. I will share this page. Maybe Anvit can send out this page to attendees. Okay. So for getting the source code is git clone. This part Praveen has explained. So we will create a branch, and from this branch, we'll raise the pull request. So I'll show you how to install Delphin for a developer's point of view in a Linux box. So you can quickly see that.
Yeah, the installation guides, I have posted the links in chat. One is the Ansible installation, which Joseph spoke about. That's the end-to-end installation of Soda along with Delphin. You can follow that and start using Soda applications and Delphin from the dashboard as well. And as you can see, what Joseph is doing right now is cloning the Delphin repository. There is also a standalone installation process, which he'll be talking about. And we also have that documented in the Delphin repository. You can follow that. Over to you, Joseph.
Yes. So I just cloned the repository. I know that there is a bug in our local installer. The PR for this is already available, but I'll fix it like this so that we can install without any issue. Now we need to export Python path.
By the way, any of you are trying to follow Joseph and doing? So if you are stuck somewhere.
Hello?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Sir, I'm trying to follow you, sir. That SED, what is that command, sir?
Yeah, I
You
can
just put
send
in
you
the
that.
chat, Joseph.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Similarly, if
Joseph?
someone else is following and you need some info, please either you can unmute yourself and tell, or you can put in the chat. So we will give you the necessary info. We want to take you along with Joseph's presentation.
Yeah, this step is available in this page.
Yeah.
Joseph, can you increase the size of the bash
Yeah, font,
please?
yes.
Yeah, I
In
think
bash?
that will help. In bash, in
Yeah,
that
bash.
terminal, in the view or the edit.
And one more thing, Joseph, whatever the command you are typing, maybe you can keep posting in the chat also.
Okay. Actually,
Parallel.
it is available in
Parallel.
that document. Yeah. No.
So if you
probably some
put
people,
that, so people
yeah,
can copy and paste.
that is better.
Okay. So now we can install using this script. So this will install RabbitMQ, Redis, and then all the Python dependence modules. Then it will start the process. It may take some time.
If you are not practicing and if you have some queries, still you can ask if you want to try later.
In my machine, Redis and RabbitMQ is already available. So it will be faster here. So we have installed, we can check whether it is working. So Delphin is up here. Now we will send a curl request to register. So we have done this.
Hello, sir.
We will just.
Hello.
Hello. Yes. Go ahead.
Sir, actually, I'm not able to copy the commands from chat, sir.
Okay, I have shared a link in chat.
Document link.
A Google Doc.
Yeah. I think that will be easy for them to refer.
If you go to the developer setup section in the menu, the second link I think will take you directly to that.
Hope you are able to open the drive and get into the doc.
I've shared the link.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So if you can copy that, then you can go to the section, developer setup section, and there you will see the commands which are being typed on screen. And you can copy those commands directly.
Okay. Once these processes are up, you will be able to register one array for the monitoring. So I can just try to see. So this array now got registered. So responses. We can check.
Hold on, sir, a little bit.
Yeah.
Just let us wait so that people reach here, whoever is trying.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody can try along. The whole point is it's a hands-on workshop, so it is recommended that you try along. And just a nudge maybe in the right direction. We want more people to be interactive. We want more people to ask questions, to interrupt us so that we can help out. And if you do that, if you start doing that, maybe we'll give out some prizes also towards the end. Who knows? So what do you say, Sushant? Should we do that?
Definitely, we have a lot of things.
Yeah,
we are dedicated for that. We'll take some call on that.
So Sushant has a lot of money, and Praveen also has a lot of money, so they will do something, right?
Yeah, we are keenly observing.
Yeah. So jokes aside, please make sure that you are following along. If you have any questions, if you want to do some steps and not able to understand, please interrupt. Please ask questions in chat, and we will be more than happy to help out. Yeah. So
okay. So anybody is able to install it successfully, or anybody is stuck?
Sir, installing, sir. In progress.
Yeah, it will take some time.
Yeah, please
because-
go ahead. Please go ahead. Others also.
Here we can just see the registered storage.
Joseph, can I try?
You are not allowed to try.
You can try.
I will raise issues.
Your issues will be rejected. By the way, Naju is the main maintainer of Delphin. So
There is no main maintainer.
Only thing you can do is, I hope somebody will raise the issue and you can handle them.
Yeah, please don't raise critical issues.
Yeah, he's only joking. Please raise as many critical issues as you can. So if you remember the first part of the discussion, Sushant was talking about how to contribute and what to contribute, right? So the most important contributions are you becoming a problem, raising problems. So you should learn how to become a problem. So the main thing is that in open source, since it's something which is crowdfunded or crowdsourced, we require a lot of testing which needs to be done by the community, and that helps with improving the quality, improving the security, and so on and so forth. So the first thing that we always ask anyone is, please use the product, please try it out, let us know if you face any issues. I think that's what everybody should do. Follow the documentation, link is in the chat. Start the installation process. If you get stuck, let us know. If you face any issues, raise an issue in the GitHub repositories.
Yeah,
so
right. We need to improve the quality of our product. So we want you all to try out. So please do not stop trying out after this bootcamp. Bootcamp will just enable you to install and the initial trial. After that, you can play around with the Delphin and try to find out the areas to improve, and you can only improve those and become an open source contributor. Yeah, go ahead, Joseph.
yeah. So we have seen how to register the storage and how to list those storages. So I'm showing what are the APIs available from the Delphin application here. So you can get it from a repository. This file can be loaded like this, import file. This API
Hello,
is
sir.
available. Yes.
Hello? Sir, after installing, sir, then what do you have to do, sir?
So after installing, you should be able to see these processes. So I'll go up. You can list this Delphin processes PS. Just check all the processes are up, API, task, alert, and all. If you can see the processes, you can send a register request. It's given in the document.
Sir, you mentioned about installing Rabbit or something like that.
Yeah,
When do you have to do that?
It will be installed.
Automatically?
It will automatically installed, yes. It will take some time. That's why we asked you to install early. I mean,
sir, I have installed, sir.
Okay.
Done. Installation is done.
Okay.
I ran the command. getting the output, sir.
Okay, good.
PS aux.
Okay, yeah. Okay, then are you able to register a storage?
Sir, I'm trying now.
Okay. This is the document we are following. You can try these commands to register and see the registered storages. And for other REST API examples, I have listed some of them here. All of them can be available in this file. So all the storage related APIs, storage pool controller, different APIs are categorized into different sections. You can see that. Can we go ahead with test and verification then?
Hello, sir.
Hello, yes.
Sir, I'm getting connection refused once I run that call.
Your process are up, right?
Can you just execute netstat -anp? I can put the command netstat -anp, and you can grep for our port, that is 8190. You can just check which address it is running, and same address you can put.
Hello, sir.
Yes, yes.
Sir, I'm getting not all processes could be identified if I run netstat.
So your Delphin processes are not up. Your Delphin processes are up. When you do ps -ax, you can see several Delphin process.
Maybe you can share the screen.
Yeah, I'll stop
That's
share.
also okay. That is also okay.
Sir,
And if it
actually,
takes time, yeah, we can debug it later in Slack, through Slack or something?
Sir, actually, I'm using another laptop, sir, not this one.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's continue. So you have any queries? You just execute these commands and just put the output back. We can parallelly debug.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. Now I want to show how we are testing. If we want to raise any PR, first we need to test we have not broken any existing stuffs. So we need to run some kind of test. One is CI test. So we are using talks to do that testing. Other is unit test. So if you modify some specific modules, you can add a unit test for those modules so that code coverage will improve. And we need to verify all the existing unit tests are passing. So we can run individual tests like this. Talks will run these individual tests, but for debugging purpose or making it faster, we can run individual tests. Finally, end-to-end tests. In end-to-end tests, we are using some kind of framework called robot framework. So details are available here, how to set it up and all. We will try one by one of these. So first we will try talks. So here I just cloned and checked out latest release version, that is version 1.4.0. We can just run. I have set up a virtual environment also. So this setup is my development system. Here we are running talks test. This will take some time. It should pass all the tests. So you can see that it has run 538 tests and all are pass. Then it is running some coverage related. So here all the tests are passed. That's why it gives this comment. So that is the CI for Delphin. Second is we can run this unit test. For example, here we are running task master unit test, task manager. So this is the module here. This is the task manager module. So we can run the test here. It will discover all the tests under task manager module and run. So in task manager, we ran 60 tests. So this will take lesser time. We can reduce still less by running single file for the test. So this is one of the test files inside task manager. We can test that like this. So this has run 6 tests and all are passed. So if you modify any source code, if any failure is there, we need to fix that before raising the PR. So that's how we test, unit test the files. Another test is the end-to-end test. So we can run that end-to-end test here. So it takes some time. Okay, there is some issue in this. This is the same test I'm running in the VM. Okay, we can see that end-to-end result is also passing. We have some outputs here. If you want, we can look at those outputs to see how it runs, or if there is any failure, we can debug using these reports. So these all are what we do before raising PR. For creating PRs and issues, we can check some of the example issues. This is one of the issues that we have in a Delphin repo. So we can see some examples how detailed they are and what are the exam details we require to recreate the issue, things like that. And we have few more issues recently created for the low priority ones for the initial contributors to try. So you guys can try these issues. Similarly, the fixes are also available here. And one more thing is, if you are raising any new features, we need to have some designs for those features, and that needs to be reviewed and approved. So that can be raised in this architecture analysis repository. So we can see some of the PRs here, pull requests for those design changes here. I have put one example. So these are all the things I want to show in Delphin repository. If there is any questions, we can discuss. And if you have made any progress, you can share that and see whether we can fix some issues, raise some PRs. Thank you. Praveen, you want to take over?
Yes. So I hope a few members are trying out already. Okay, so by the time we have few members who have already tried Soda Foundation projects, so maybe we can ask some his experience, and by the time any other members are trying, they can keep trying, keep installing or means the Delphin and all, and we can heard some experience from members.
Praveen, maybe we can probably take some issues now. If somebody is having some issues, we can take them now, and the experience sharing we can take it towards the end. We still have some time.
That is also okay. Sure.
Okay. So Nitish was having some issue. Anybody else who's trying out or would want to start now? Even if you want to start now, don't hesitate. Even if you didn't start earlier, if you want to start trying out right now, we can start from the beginning. There is a document available in chat. So if you want to start now also, you can just message us in chat, or maybe you can tell us that you want to start doing this now. Let us know.
For Nitish, there was some issue during installation. So he's uninstalling and installing again. Meanwhile, if some other people have some issues, they can just quote out. You can also mention if you have tried some other projects even before Bootcamp and all and face some issues or need some guidance. And maybe we can start with the experience sharing, and meanwhile we'll look for issues.
Sure, that also works. Praveen, you can take over.
Okay, so I think Amit Devnath is here with us. He has tried out some Soda Foundation projects. I think multi-cloud he was trying to install. So maybe Amit, are you there? Are you here right now? Yeah. So maybe you can share your experience from the very scratch. How did you install, and if you face the issues, then how you contacted us, and what is your overall experience with the Soda Foundation?
Yeah. So actually, I was working on a sort of project trying to integrate with some of the Soda project. So there I started trying out installing the overall Soda framework from the Soda Foundation, the documentation. So from the documentation, I started using the Ansible, installation of the Ansible using the Ansible. So that I tried out. So and after some steps, actually, I faced a problem, so which was quite uncommon. So while installation, the keystone was not coming up, and there was. So I tried for quite few days, and then reached out to the Soda team using Slack. So then Praveen and with Ashit. So they helped me out, and it was like finally found out that we had a like in my particular case, the keystone coming up was a bit late. Means it was like in normally it actually tries out after 12 retries. It times out, uh, but so after debugging all other things, I didn't work out. So initially we thought that this is a networking problem, and initially I was trying in a company laptop. Then I switched to the personal laptop. Then finally it was showing that it is a just it is coming late. So increasing the time, increasing the retry count actually fixed the issue. So it was very helpful of the soda community guys. So they actually really helped me to like get this setup. So then finally it got installed. Yeah.
Amit, I must say, like your try ended up in contributing an announcement issue for Soda, which people started looking into. So
Yeah.
it's thanks, thanks for your effort. Probably, maybe we are biased. Our environments are biased. So the third person trying will definitely help in improving some things or improving some things which are already working. Maybe we have not
Yeah,
faced it.
yeah,
So in
yeah.
a way, in that sense, it really helped us to enhance or improve some feature.
Yeah, definitely. Because I
That's really
tried the
nice.
two different machines, so both was like failing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So we were also quite interested in looking that issue because we just wanted to know it is definitely some issue which is not common, but like you, many people might face
Might
and
fail
might
that.
spend more
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Right.
some of the key points which Amit
Uh,
mentioned here, the one thing was that when he found the issue, he contacted us on Slack. So that is like the biggest thing. If you face any issues, first of all, you can contact us on GitHub, raise an issue. But if you want a direct one-on-one chat or even with the entire team, you can just message on Slack, and that way more people can actually take a look, and if they have faced it before, you will get feedback immediately. So thanks for that, Amit. That really helped. Yes, Praveen.
Right. So the same point actually I was about to mention about means how you can reach out to us if you're stuck anywhere, because the problems may be due to the some network and maybe due to some configuration setting. In Amit case, what was happening that some configuration was like that default 30 times retry, and it just got solved by just adding some more times of retry the same operations. So but if you raise this issue and all, it will be helpful for us as well as the community member also, because whenever they will try, some other member will try next time, they might not face this issue again. So it will be win-win situation for you as well as us, and that's how open source works, right? So everybody, its codes is completely, definitely codes are open completely, but you have to contribute it, you have to make more stable it. So this way open source basically works. And Amit has tried, and thank you Amit for trying it out.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
hear from one of our earliest community members who's been around for some of the events as well, and he's also volunteered with Soda Foundation at physical events. Plus, he's been contributing at different aspects. Shivai,
Yeah.
I'd like to hear from Shivai. So Shivai actually started off as a student contributor, and now he's actually working in a different capacity. He's working as a CTO at Dark Horse, and he is a prolific open source developer. So I would like to hear his opinion of and his experience of starting off his journey with open source, and then how he came across Soda Foundation and what was it that helped him out in his journey. Shivai?
Yeah, thank you so much, Amit. And first of all, like, I hope everyone who's been present here is really taking note of whatever was covered, because to be very honest, this is kind of a setup through which I really got introduced to a lot of good concepts within open source. So my journey started out in open source in early 2019, and at that time I was contributing to a few projects in FOSS Asia, which is also one of the largest open source organizations in the Asia Pacific region. So, like, my struggle with open source is that my first 5-6 particular pull requests that I created were all rejected, and that was primarily due to the fact that I was not following the contributing guidelines. So sometimes my pull request, the messages that I was there, or my branch name, or my pull request title, and sometimes even when I was having a code contribution, my code standards were not actually, the same as what was supposed to be there. So I also came across this like kind of a developer sprint, dev sprint, that was hosted by the volunteers of FOSS Asia. And over there, I really learned that how to basically make sure that whenever you're contributing to any open source project, there are certain guidelines that are needed to be followed. So usually you will find those guidelines in the contributing.md, the contributing.markdown file. And that can range from organization to project, right? And that will usually tell you what are the best practices when it comes to creating a good branch name, right? For example, let's say ideal workflow would be that, yes, if you want to contribute to a project, you clone that project, you fork that project, and then you create a branch name that is more specific to the kind of contribution that you're making. Let's say it's a bug fix on the front end. Let's say if you're talking about Soda Foundation and you're working on the documentation side of things, you're making a bug fix in the documentation. So you create something like docs fix, right? So creating appropriate names and following those guidelines while creating branch name, pull request name is something that will be mentioned in those kind of contributing guidelines, right? Either in the README or in the contributing.markdown file. And it's very important to follow those for two reasons. One is that when the project is being being contributed by at a large scale, and there are a lot of different contributors, it helps to maintain the standardization, and also it also helps the project maintainers to keep note and easily identify what that particular issue is regarding and what is that branch or that pull request for. So it just makes it the entire reviewing of the pull request much more easier if we follow the standard template. And also making sure that whenever we are creating a pull request, it should have detailed information. Now, some of the contributing guidelines will also mention to you that, okay, these are the things that you should mention in your pull request, right? So all these different things are really important aspects of maintaining proper, guidelines that are supposed to be there whenever you're submitting any kind of a pull request. And also really important is that you follow the right kind of coding standards, because of course with open source you'll also learn how to properly document your code and also how to properly write your code. When we are creating our own personal projects, there are a lot of times when we're just using any kind of random function names or variable names. But with open source, when you look at the code base, you understand, okay, what are the standards that are supposed to be maintained, right? So for example, let's say if you're working on front end, if the project uses class-based React components instead of functional React components, it will actually tell you that, okay, you should follow this standard while creating new functional names, right? So all of this will enable you again in two ways. One is easier reviewing process for the contribution that you make, and also it will help you to standardize and make yourself disciplined when it comes to creating, code actually, like the actual code that you write. And these kind of best practices can come when you're contributing to open source projects. So I was not following all of this earlier on, but during the dev sprint that I participated in, and that dev sprint was exactly something like that we are having today at the Soda Foundation Bootcamp, where they started off with the basics of Git and GitHub, but then they went into the best practices when it came to contributing to the to the projects of in that case it was FOSS Asia. And that just gave me a really great confidence boost, because I actually felt really bad that 5 of my pull requests initial pull request over a month all got rejected. So after that, my contribution, like the contributions that I started to make, all of those started getting accepted. And that process then sort of, went further. I started contributing to some of the other projects. And I came across Soda Foundation while attending the Linux Foundation Open Source Summit in France that took place in 2019. I got to know about the projects, and I was deeply fascinated. I kept on meeting the entire team, even when I was outside the conference space while we were roaming around. So that sort of went into, I started looking at some of the projects in the Soda Foundation ecosystem. One thing that I was particularly overjoyed was with the multi-cloud project. That's something that I really felt passionate about. So even though I didn't make a lot of compelling, open source like code-based contributions, but with the Soda Foundation, and this is something that even if, let's say, you're not really comfortable with code-based contributions, non-code contributions are also something that are definitely important and are part of open source contributions that you can make. So it could be due to the fact that, okay, you're not probably getting a lot of time to make coding contributions, but at the same time, if you can just share about the overall about the projects, if you can help others come on board to the ecosystem and help them get started with open source contributions, as we were discussing. So even non-code contributions today are hugely important, and that has sort of been my relationship with the Soda Foundation in terms of advocating about and helping with those kind of non-code contributions as well. So I have been involved in sharing about the Soda Foundation and its ecosystem and the projects at in my college and in other colleges in India that I took part in while taking some sessions on Git, GitHub, or some open source projects. And apart from that, being able to collaborate with the team at various in-person and virtual events. So in person, I got a chance to be at the booth of Scalar of the open source, basically at the Kubernetes day in New Delhi. So basically that was one way, and then I also got to be a chance at the booth for the Soda Foundation at KubeCon EU. So those are some of the ways in which I have been able to utilize my passion towards open source and the love that I have for the Soda Foundation ecosystem through non-code ways as well. So knowing your basically how much amount of time that you can give, right? It's two ways, or you can also follow both ways as well. You can either give only coding contributions or non-code contributions. And non-code contributions could be through advocating about the projects. It could be writing good documentation for the projects. It could be actually writing blog posts, creating some kind of a video, right? Some kind of a video that just tells about the project, right? That is also something that I have sort of come across and I've got the opportunity to do for the Soda Foundation. So those are the things that you can also do if you're not really comfortable in writing code as well. Or let's say if you're coming in from non-coding backgrounds, you can still contribute to open source in that ways as well. And of course, a lot of the things that were covered today were particularly towards being able to contribute to open source projects. But I would say that just start off by creating your own personal projects, collaborate with your friends. That will just give you a good level of understanding of how Git works, how GitHub works, and then you can always come and contribute to open source projects. And just don't feel bad if your initial in your initial time your projects don't or your pull requests don't get accepted. That happened to me. That can happen to anyone. So it's a slow process. It will take time, and as you make smaller contributions, as you get more and more familiarized with the project, you can make much more better contributions as well. And that was something that also happened for me as well when I was contributing to open source projects, particularly in the CNCF and for Soda. So yeah, I mean, that was pretty much what I just wanted to share in terms of my personal experience with open source and with the Soda Foundation. So that, this goes on to show that open source is really for everyone, right? It does not discriminate for anyone. So that's pretty much it. Thank you so much.
No, so Yeah, thanks, Shiva. I think you touched upon a lot
It
of
was a
topics.
multifold
Yeah,
experience and answer. Thanks for that.
yeah. But I think in that 5 to 10 minutes that you spoke continuously about your entire experience, I think you covered the entire life cycle of an open source developer.
Yeah.
So the biggest, I think, takeaway from what you spoke, for me at least, would be that you persevered, and that's something which is required in open source. Sometimes it takes time in open source, since there are so many people, contributing. It's a public repository. And sometimes the people who are working on these open source projects are also not doing it full time. Although we said that not everybody is part time, not everybody is full time either. There are many, in fact, people who work on their time off, or they work for a hobby, but they are doing a lot of work. Sometimes all of these factors do come into picture. So you need to actually sometimes wait. You need to have some patience. And if somebody says, okay, this is not the right way to do things, instead of getting your ego in between and say, hey, this is the way I do it, no, you should learn how it is the right way, how the right way to do things is, and then probably contribute back. Most of what we try to do here with this boot camp is the same thing. We are trying to show you what would be the right way to go about things. Yes, it may be a little fast at times, but that comes with the 3-hour duration that we have. Having said that, one thing is persevere, make sure that you go and find projects that you can work on. If not, the last point which Shiva spoke about, make sure that you start your own projects. You can just start contributing by creating small projects on GitHub, start playing around with the code, push it directly, and then try to see if you can work with your friends, collaborate with them, learn how to do that. It just helps you when you put it on your resume that you are comfortable with Git and GitHub. Many companies consider that to be a bonus point, because that shows that you have the self drive to learn some technology without having to actually enforce you to learn it. So that's very cool, Shiva. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. Anybody else here who would like to speak, who's attended the session today, and who actually wants to talk about what they've gone through? Maybe you've not been able to work on it together, no problem. But if you want to say something, you have the stage. We can. Anybody here interested in just sharing their experience?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Hi, Nitish. Yeah, go on.
Yes, sir. Actually, I came to know about Soda Foundation through Open Source India. It was in 2019 I came to know about Soda Foundation.
Right.
And also after that, I had attended many meetings. Actually, so my teachers are in contact with you all, so they shared the link, and I attended many meetings. And I also attended previous 2 sessions of this hackathon. So in that, I learned about Delphin unit testing. Actually, Sushant sir helped me like how to write the unit test case, and how to actually commit and raise a pull request, and also raise a issue. So, and actually initially when I used to attend meeting, I used to not understand anything. Like even if I used to try to understand, I used to not understand anything regarding Soda products like that. But this time, I got actually I shared my screen, and Sushant sir explained me like I was facing some errors. So Sushant sir helped me solve it. So in that way, I got to know about like how this project is, what are the components, and how it is connected. And because of that, I think I raised 3 pull requests on unit testing, and I'm very happy about it.
Oh,
thank you.
That's nice. That's nice.
Thank you, sir. I would like to thank Sushant sir for helping me out, and also the Soda Foundation. Thank you.
Thanks, Nitish, for your effort. You have shown a lot of perseverance, even though you face multiple issues. You attended a couple of meetings. You're not given up on that. So I should thank you for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Nitish. And again, even though you face issues, you have come back and you've told us that you wanted to work on it. So that's something really nice. And we look forward to more contributions from your side, and hope to see you at future events, maybe on the other side of this screen. Maybe you can be one of the mentors for the next bootcamp. That would be something really cool.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else who want to share, who have been part of or have attended several SODA conferences, meetings, have some opinion on this?
Or the opposite,
Please
if
go
this
ahead.
is your first time you're attending and you do learn anything new today. So if anybody here has not been, or rather this was the first time you got to know about open source, I think that would be the perfect person to speak. So anybody here who actually learned about open source, which think they did not know before, someone would like to share, that will be something really nice.
My name's Yash, and I have joined this meeting, or I can say open source, for the first time.
Right, Yash. Go on.
And I have just subscribed this your website, open source website, about last week, because I got a mail or something like that, and then I want to learn more about full stack web developer, because my aim, I'm a student, I'm in a college, and I want to learn about full stack web development, but I also want to learn what's the open source. So because I just forgot that I had a meeting of this open source, and I got a message, and oh, I got late. I just hurried up because I got late, and just open laptop and just joined anyway. But still, I was like around 15 minutes late, but still I caught up. Like the open source server teaching what's open source, and difference between open source and private. The open source, like we can see codes in it, and sometimes we can change it if it doesn't has any copyright issues or something. So I loved this, and I was consistent.
Thanks, Yash. Thank you so much. And yeah, although you joined 15 minutes late, I believe we just started when you joined, because we gave some time for people to join in. So anyway, thanks. And we hope to see you as well contribute to many of the projects. So you said you wanted to be a full stack web developer. Well, there are projects.
You have a lot of opportunity,
yes,
I must say.
Yes.
And we especially want people there. Enthusiasts.
Absolutely.
Right. And the few words is just I would like to add for the especially students, those who are trying to just means they are starting their code journey basically. So see, there are multiple of advantages. Okay, so first advantage is, for example, as a student, you are in students and you are writing a code. Okay, in where you are writing a code, you are writing to a repository which is already has the stable code and has been written by the industry experts. Okay, so that's why if you see the CY 5 PRs got rejected. Why? Because initially he was not up to that industry level. Okay, and then after 5-6 attempts, now he can comfortably say that, okay, I can write the code where the projects can accept it. Right? Who can accept it? Those who are in the industry. So from the students level itself, if we are able to write a code where the industry level can accept it, I think it's a very good win for you. So that's the open source. This opportunity you can't get anywhere, but in open source contribution you can get it. The code will be get reviewed, it will be screwed up, but that's the learning process, right? So that's a very good platform for the students. if you want to really develop it, better to write something so that others can see it, others can review your code, review your documentation skills, and they can guide you. Okay. So
Yes.
thank you.
Anybody else want to go?
Okay.
With-
So
we
anybody
are
else?
pretty much done with. In
No, I
case,
think anybody else is trying out.
Yeah.
Still trying
yes.
out. If you are, then we will be available here. You can ask us.
Yeah,
any
I think
doubts.
Nitish, you are trying. Probably you can show to Joseph and Praveen. If you can share the screen.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Joseph, let
Yes,
us
yes.
just see.
Yeah.
Probably you can help him.
Hello, is my screen visible?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. I actually ran all the commands. I'm getting this error, sir.
Root permission.
Permission is not.
I think he should run with the sudo.
Yeah,
Sudo,
sudo. You enter to sudo. Permission issue it is. Sudo -i. You can execute.
This install command, sir. Hello.
Yeah, just sudo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. The main thing is that currently you are with the Nitish users, but we want as a root user. So how you can go? So you can simply just write, clean it, all those things, just do sudo, so that you can become a root user and remove the installer and all those things. Right. Sudo space I. Right. Hyphen I.
Sudo
Correct.
space
Hyphen I.
hyphen I. Yeah, hyphen I.
Hyphen I. And give the password. Right now.
You enter, it will ask for
Yes.
password.
Right. So proceed with the. Hopefully you won't get any permission issue.
I think that is not needed. It is already done, right?
Okay.
You need to go inside that Delphin directory.
Okay.
I think Delphin won't be there. You need to clone it.
You just
Yes,
clone
sir.
it because yeah, it is different user.
Okay.
Anvit, you have some goodies, surprises to give away.
Should we give away or should we keep ourselves?
It's almost the time now.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just spend some more time.
Yeah, I
Solve
think,
this, then
yeah, just
wind up with the price.
yes.
Sir, should I run this command SED now?
Yes, keep running.
Yes, you need it. Yeah.
Okay. Hello, sir. Hello.
Yes. I just check PS minus AUX grep Delphin. Yes, now Delphin is running. You can run that post API from the document. Below. Yeah. Yes, got registered. It's working now for you. You can check Git storage.
Yes, sir. I think so. I got some.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Similar things can be tried on any other clients as well, like Postman or some other web clients, where you can see each of these things with more clarity. Anyway, nonetheless, this is the output.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thanks, Joseph.
Thanks for getting over the line.
Okay.
Right.
So yeah, Praveen.
Anvit, there are some questions regarding somebody joined late, so how they can start. So maybe briefly.
Okay, cool. So hello everyone. I was a bit late to session as there was an exam. Oh, sorry so much, Sandeep. Very unfortunate that you had an exam, but hope you did well. So how can you get started? Well, after this session is done, at some point of time, we will have the recording online and we will share it. But just to give you an idea, the first thing that you can do is create a GitHub ID for yourself, because that would be the first step. Once you've created a GitHub ID, just start playing around with GitHub, learn how to use GitHub, how to use Git, the tool, GIT. There are two different things, Git and GitHub. Once you know the difference, that will take some time to just read, and there's a lot of resources available. Plus, we'll try and share the presentations that we use today. Once you have an idea of where to start off with GitHub, then you can start looking at some of the open source projects which are available in the publicly available right now. You can start off with the Soda Foundation projects. All our projects are open source. You can check out different kinds of projects. There's Delphin, which is completely in Python. There's Multi-Cloud, which is completely in Go programming language. And if you're into front end, there's the Soda dashboard and the Soda documentation, which are with Angular and also in JavaScript specifically. There are many other projects. If you're into writing code for, say, something which uses Ansible scripting, we have our installer which we use Ansible, so you can also contribute over there. At any given point of time, if you want to ask any questions, if you have any doubts, and if you get stuck somewhere, please join our Slack. I'm going to share the links once again in the chat. You can follow these links and you will be able to, yes, you should be able to get, the first link is a PDF document which has got all our links in an easy to access manner. Also, the second link, you can see the join Soda Slack in the chat. So use that. Please join our Slack channels and you can communicate with us over there. The Soda team is usually available at all times, sometimes late at night as well. Generally, there'll be one or two people at least. You should get at least a response. But at any point in the day, you will definitely hear from someone. You can post your queries also on GitHub. In the respective repositories, you can go and raise issues, or if there are issues which are already raised, you can put comments over there. And they could be very basic. You don't have to think that, hey, if I put something like this, will they think that I don't know anything? Don't feel that way. If you are asking a basic questions, that will help us in also ensuring that the right information is always available. The best way would be, like I said, start off with these links, and at any point of time, if you have any trouble, reach out to us on Slack. Okay, Sushant.
Thank you so much.
Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome.
So actually, I'm an open source enthusiast. Like I'm a full stack developer. Like I already work with one stack.
Okay. Okay.
Like interested in contributing to open source projects. I previously contributed to some different organizations, but I wanted to do somewhat big things, like big contributions, contributing in big contributions, so that I can leverage my skills in a good manner.
Right, Sandeep.
Yeah. So I'm also interested in DevOps. So I think there may be some DevOps projects.
That is brilliant. That is brilliant. If you're looking at DevOps, I think that is something which we are also looking for the community to help us out with, because there is a lot of scope for improving the current way we implement a lot of things. So please do join our installer project, and also you should attend. Okay, for all of those who are attending here, we have a bi-weekly community meeting which happens every alternate Friday.
And just to inform all of you who are gathered here, so in upcoming community meetings, we plan to even do a issue triaging or some brainstorming on the issues, so that you will be able to contribute. Your contribution will be made more visible and more interactive. So do join community meetings and use it as a stepping stone for your contribution.
There's a question in chat whether we have any workshops for DevOps, or if we are conducting. We're not conducting any specifically for DevOps, but yeah, this is the community meeting link which I've shared, the Zoom meeting, and as well as the agenda which is set up. As I mentioned, it's a bi-weekly meeting, and it will be conducted every alternate Friday. But sometimes they may be cancelled. Like for example, due to this event, we may not have one tomorrow. So now I just want to. I think Sushant, we have some people who have spoken to us today.
Yeah, so you know what to do.
Yes. So at the beginning of the sessions, we had informed that if you are someone who is going to participate in this discussion and become a part and also help us conduct the session in a more interactive way, we'll also think of you and give away surprises. So Sushant has a lot of money and he's decided to give away Amazon vouchers. So we will be sharing Amazon vouchers with you and they will be shared to you, but not everyone. Obviously, Sushant does not have that much money. So Praveen is going to help with the remaining. But what we are going to do is we have identified a few of the members from the community here today. So let me congratulate in no particular order, but Ayush Das Purkayast. Ayush, thank you for being actively a part of this conversation, although you were on chat most of the time, but thank you, Ayush, for being actively participating in all the discussions.
Ayush, are you there?
Ayush, there? Oh, it seems like Ayush logged out the moment we started giving away the prizes. Too bad, Ayush. But next up,
anyway.
yeah. Next up, I would like to talk to Yash. Yash, congratulations. Thanks for being a part of this discussion and sharing your experience as well. And we hope to see you as a contributor very soon, Yash.
Yes, sir.
Yash Rana. I'm talking about Yash Rana here.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, and then we have, I think, with us Nitish, who actually was very, very aggressive. He was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to ensure that I make my contribution today. So thank you so much, Nitish, for making sure that you actually follow along and did the whole hands-on with us. And we are very glad that you're able to actually bring up Delphin. And we look forward to seeing a lot more contributions from you and look forward to seeing you as a mentor very soon.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Next up, I'd like to congratulate Amit Devnath. Amit, again, you have been a good, person who has been trying.
Already a mentor.
So, yeah, he's already a mentor, but he's tried so hard and ensured that it got worked. And thank you so much for sharing your experience as well. So congratulations. You'll also see a nice goodie in your email very soon. And Shivai, congratulations, Shivai. Thanks for sharing your experience and giving out so much of gyan that I think as much as we
in
covered
fact,
in the workshop,
you summed up the entire event.
Exactly. What exactly I was about to say was you summarized our entire workshop in your experience sharing. So thank you, Shivai.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amit.
And congratulations.
Yeah,
and
thank you so much.
Although he was late and he came from an exam, so late. But he was not so late because he really wants to do something. And Sandeep, congratulations. You also win yourself a voucher and we'll be sharing that with your registered email address shortly. So thanks everyone who...
I can't believe this, sir. Thank you.
See, it's
oh, can't take this, you mean?
you don't want it? Don't worry,
we are ready. Take or can't believe?
I want it, definitely.
Oh, you told you can't believe. I told I can't take it. Okay.
Okay, so there are some questions in chat as how can I also get these vouchers? Well, the first thing you do is the next hands-on workshop we have, you attend and you work along with the instructors and also ask questions. There's another way you can win some prizes, and coming to that, we have Soda Forum. Soda Forum is a Soda mini summit, which is happening tomorrow as part of OSI. Soda Forum starts at 2:45 p.m. tomorrow and goes on till 6:45, 7 p.m. in the evening. It's a 3-hour mini summit with multiple sessions. We have technical sessions, lightning talks, demos of the latest releases, and a panel discussion as well. Well, along with that, we have a quiz, not a quiz, we have many quizzes, which will be happening throughout the day. And if you give the right answer, you are lucky maybe, and you may win some more prizes, exciting prizes. So yeah, so all those who are asking questions on how they can win more vouchers, well, attend Soda Forum tomorrow and attempt all the questions. And if you get them right, you will stand a chance to win some lovely Amazon vouchers. Also, just to remind you, the Soda Hackathon is still on. Today being the last day for contribution. So you have learned how to contribute to open source projects now. Maybe you can use that knowledge and try and contribute to some of the issues which are raised for the Soda Hackathon in our GitHub. So go to the link in chat, the Soda GitHub link, which is already shared, and you should be able to check out the projects which are part. So the hackathon project, I'm just gonna the link for the hackathon is in the chat. You should be able to go and how to attend. I have a question, how to attend what? The hackathon or Soda Forum? If it's the hackathon, you need to go register. If you've registered on the website, start contributing to the projects. Delphin, Multi-Cloud, Dashboard, and Documentation are the projects which are part of the hackathon. The rules are already in the chat. You can solve some of the issues. You can also raise any issues which you've come across in these projects. And excuse me, if you raise issues which are actually good and if they are accepted by the maintainers, then well, you will get some points. The rules for the hackathon are in the chat. You should go and check them out. You still have time till tonight to submit your contributions. Ensure that you start making them as soon as possible, because we will be taking the leaderboard sometime tonight or maybe tomorrow. So if you need any help, just reach out to us on Slack. We have a channel called #SodaOSI2021. You can join Slack by the link provided, sodafoundation.io/Slack. And yeah, I think with that, I think we would like to now close the Soda Developer Bootcamp 2021 at OSI 2021. Thank you, everybody, for your participation. Thank you, Praveen Ranjan. Thank you, Joseph, VP. Thank you, Basabi. Thank you, Sushant. And thanks most to our audience who has been with us the whole afternoon. Thanks to Amit, Shivai, Nitish, and all the winners of the questions. And also thanks to all the participants who are trying along with us. And definitely thanks to OSI for this platform. With that, we would like to now close the Soda Developer Bootcamp. Sushant, you want to add something over here?
Nothing, just hope to see you soon tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So we have a keynotes, we have tech talks, and also we have a forum. So do follow us and join all the events so that you can get as much as information as possible about Soda. Thanks a lot, guys.
The keynote
and also
is...
thank OSI for providing this platform for us to get us introduced to you people.
Absolutely. The keynote is being presented by Stephen Tan. He is the board chair for Soda Foundation, along with Sanil Kumar D, who is the head of the architect work group of the Soda Foundation. So definitely attend the keynote. Keynote is happening tomorrow morning at 11:45 IST, and the Soda Forum is in the afternoon at 2:45 p.m. If you've not registered, head on over to the link and register.
Praveen and Joseph want to add something?
No, I think
yeah,
it was great
already.
session.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you all.
I just added
Thank
the link for Soda Forum. So anyway, this will be sent as a part of mail as well.
If you want to join Slack, the link is simple. It's sodafoundation.io/Slack. Soda Foundation. I'm just going to type it out. Soda Foundation. Soda Foundation.io. You should be able to go to this link and join the Slack. And any questions you have, you can post in the Slack channels. That way we can actually get back to you about any doubts that you want to clear. Right then, I think with that, we come to the end of this Developer Bootcamp. Thank you so much for spending the time. And we hope to see you tomorrow and at all the future Soda events. Have a good evening. Stay safe wherever you are. And let's hope to meeting in person very soon.
Yeah, thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.